As a lifelong Nintendo fan, I have been waiting for a very long time with bated breath for the release of the Super Mario Bros. Movie from Nintendo and Illumination. I've been to see the movie twice now, and I can confidently say that it gave me pretty much everything that I expected from it, and I think it'll be a really good movie for fans. This is something that film critic and YouTuber Grace Randolph doesn't seem to understand. If you aren't familiar with Grace, she runs a pretty successful YouTube channel called Beyond the Trailer. She's somebody that I've been familiar with for a very long time, and while I don't agree with a lot of her opinions, she is somebody that I respect because she is very knowledgeable about the film industry. Also, sidebar, her obsession that she has with hating everything that Jessica Chastain does is so hilarious.
When audiences looked at Sophia Lillis, they saw Beverly Marsh. But when they look upon Jessica Chastain in It Chapter 2, they will see Jessica Chastain. I don't know, I guess Jessica Chastain wants to be the damsel in distress. We'll talk about Jessica Chastain because she's going to show up in just a second. So she rings the doorbell, bam, there she is. And I was like, I can't believe my luck. Jessica Chastain is not only opening this trailer, but as it turns out, occupies a decent chunk of it. And that was early on in Jessica Chastain's career, before anyone knew just how annoying and unpopular she truly is. But she's so stupid.
In her review of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Grace described her experience viewing the movie as torture to get through, and she had issues with the film not having much story. The Mario franchise has never been one that has had super complicated stories, if we don't count the Paper Mario games pre-Sticker Star, because those are some of the best game stories of all time, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. This is something that Nintendo game director Shigeru Miyamoto has tried to deny on a plethora of occasions, but that's a topic for another day. The premise of the games usually revolves around Bowser kidnapping Princess Peach, and the game is Mario's quest to rescue her from danger. There are obvious exceptions, because we have had Mario games where Peach is a playable character, or rescuing her isn't really the sole goal of the game. But for some reason, Grace doesn't seem to know that Bowser has been trying to get at Peach over the span of multiple games, and viewed the movie as, and I quote, being about who is going to date Princess Peach. For a film, I don't think Mario having to rescue Peach as he always does would have been a very strong narrative, and having a character like Princess Peach, who has been criticized for a very long time for being a helpless damsel in distress, take on an active role in protecting her kingdom is a very strong choice creatively. However, Grace's point of being tired of girl power characters for the sake of them being girl power characters is something I can get behind. I think how the writers of this movie handled the quote-unquote girl bossification of Princess Peach was very effective, as they don't have her outright say, I'm a girl boss, I can take care of myself, I don't need a man to help me, which characters like Jen from She-Hulk or Carol from Captain Marvel spout constantly. A really interesting criticism Grace had of this movie is that it is inaccessible to people who aren't already fans of the Mario IP, because it doesn't give an introduction to the characters or the world that they live in. However, I would argue that they do enough of that, because this movie was made for fans, and again, there isn't really much with these characters in the games other than surface level things. Like, for example, Mario is strong and capable, he's your stereotypical protagonist. Luigi is easily spooked, Princess Peach is kind and gentle, and so on. There isn't a whole lot going on with these characters aside from their basic traits. This is also largely in part because we don't see them doing much talking during the games, because it's usually side characters doing the talking for them. What I think Grace fails to understand is that this movie was most likely never going to appeal to her because she doesn't have any sort of relationship with the games, which again is evidenced by her not understanding Bowser's attachment to Princess Peach or Mario's ability to turn into a cat, which her comments surrounding that topic are genuinely hilarious. A movie being made for fans of a specific IP is something that I feel like most people would have understood. For example, I don't care much about Sonic the Hedgehog, so the Sonic movies that they've been releasing weren't something that I would have particularly cared about. And I would also argue that anybody who watches Grace should take her review of this movie with a grain of salt, because her saying that it's inaccessible to non-Mario fans is something that is not particularly far-fetched. There is a weird disconnect between movie fans and movie critics, and it's becoming more and more prevalent as time goes on. Because a lot of the time, audiences tend to like movies more than critics, because critics tend to look for very specific things. And if they lean a particular direction politically, things in the movies they watch may anger them and cause them to leave a negative review. Grace's review of the Mario movie is a perfect example of this disconnect. I just want to have a little sidebar for the conservatives who may be watching this. Touting this movie as being anti-woke is so unnecessary. I don't understand why you feel the need to bring every piece of media into the culture war debate, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. Before I end, I just want to clarify something. This video was not meant to be a personal attack of Grace Randolph's work, because I have a lot of respect for her as a critic and as a YouTuber, and I wish her only the best, but I want her to do better with these things. My name is Chanelance, and I'll see you all next time.